Okay, so today my stalls are already done. I'm gonna go ahead and just do my water buckets now. Um, Hopefully you can hear me all the way to the end of the aisle. As I pass my radio, I'll go ahead and turn that down. I did want to discuss about feedback, is how I left my last video off. And feedback to me is probably the most valuable part of what I do, and it's the most valuable part of what you should look for in what you do. Your horse wanting to be with you is your feedback. Your horse not running off the minute you pull his halter off at turnout and taking off to go be with his buddies. That's your feedback. My horses are in stalls 10 17 hours a day. It really kind of depends on the season, but they don't get to see their pasture mates all night or during those times that they're in the stalls. But as soon as they're let out, they don't take off from me and run to go see their buddies. What they do is they have their halter removed, and then they stand there like, really? That's it? Sometimes I have to encourage them to go off and be with their buddies, because I'm not going to be able to stay out there with you. If they do engage me, Katie will sometimes show me her feet. She likes to do the Spanish walk as her request to be scratched. And that's another thing too, is give your horses a voice. Let them talk to you, and how they talk to you would be giving you physical cues of maybe a request. For example, Tyson, when he finally learned that it's okay to engage you in anything. Tyson was a horse that has a history and was very, very fearful of everything he could possibly be fearful of. You couldn't even walk into the barn where he wouldn't just throw himself against a wall and in a panic. Now, you can pet him and do things with him and scratch him, and it took me 1.5 years to get him to react to something he enjoyed. And now he will ask you to scratch him. So it took 1.5 years of scratching him and just being so certain that he's going to like something I do to him. And then finally one day his lip came out, and if you're a horse person, you know what that means. He's loving it. So I figured out how to work with that, and now you can turn him out, and instead of him running off to go find his buddies, he stops and waits for you to acknowledge him, and then he'll reach up and he'll tap you on the shoulder with his chin. And he's very polite about it. He'll position himself, next to you and then tap you, and that's his way of asking, will you scratch me? Katie, she'll stretch out her legs, and show you the Spanish walk stuff, and that means she likes to be scratched right, behind I call it her armpit, right behind the front leg. And Ritz, he'll reach up over you and pull you in, like give you a giant hug. Now, sometimes he's a little rough, so I would say he's kind of rude. But those are all feedback. That's all interaction that my horses have been allowed to be. I call it give your horse a voice. I've given my horse, all 3 of them, for example, go out together, and I'm way more interesting than their buddies are when they first go out. You never see me take a halter off and have it half off and the horse is already 15 yards from you because you haven't even gotten the halter off, but they have no interest in you whatsoever. I don't know, that breaks my heart. I wouldn't want my horses to do that to me. I wouldn't want my horses to see me coming and turn around and go the other way. An uncatchable horse is something that I've had a few brought to me as uncatchable horses, and they're extremely catchable now. You can call them on your way out of the barn and they'll meet you at the gate, and when you get to the gate, they help you put their halters on. These are all things that are developed through just spending some time. I go out to my paddocks and spend time with my horses, just to do that. Like, I don't go out with a halter. I don't go out with a lead rope or a bridle or whatever. I go out, and my entire reason for being there is to come and hang out with my horses. And they, without question, eat that up, you know. Then my horses see me coming. They come from wherever, the farthest end of the field, and they want to know if I'm coming to hang out with them. And like I said, often that is exactly what I do. I do not go out with treats. I never ever want to encourage my horses to mug me. I show up with treats in my hand, then, you know, they're going to fight with each other. That's always an issue. And people don't realize how dangerous it is to bring treats out to a paddock when you're only intending to give your own horse a treat. People also don't realize how dangerous it is, even if you feel like being a generous horse owner and you're going to supply, you know, if you're chewing gum, you got to give everybody gum. You know, if you come out there and start offering all the other horses treats, well, to see what you're doing is you think you're being nice to every horse, and then as you watch, this higher up horse is going to go after this lower man horse to say, you know what, if there's another cookie involved, I'm getting it. That lower horse may go after the lower horse than him. Before you know it, you're in the middle of a horse fight. Does it always get to that point to where they're kicking and biting and, you know, carrying on? No, but I guarantee you, you're in the middle of a pushing match. This guy who came over maybe late and found out that there is something that you're here to do, and oh, that seems interesting, he may come and start pushing the other horses out of the way. So you may be, you know, not recognizing that as becoming a very dangerous situation to be involved in. And quite frankly, I would never go out there with treats and then try to walk further into the paddock. You know, like you go in the gate and you feed them all a bunch of treats, and now you think you're going to go play with your horse and you're going to go try to walk out further into the paddock. Now you are a sitting duck. If you're ever amongst a herd that's active, always find a fence line, always find a wall. Never ever put yourself out there in the middle of the field. I go out there in the middle of the field because I'm coming to give my horses love. I'm not coming to give my horses food. I think it's extremely dangerous to find yourself having told them all, you know, I got the goods, and now you're going to find out how demanding that higher up horse could possibly be. Not only how he would push around his lower guys, but how he's going to start to push you around. Treats are not a good idea. Please, please, please. And anybody who knows me knows hand-fed treats aren't allowed. I don't care if you own the horse or not. Hand-fed treats are not allowed. Your horse does not care where that treat came from. Your horse just cares that he gets it. So he doesn't care if it's in your hand or if it's in his bucket. He just cares if he gets it. So my rules are, you are absolutely allowed to feed your horse so many treats that he blows up, but you're going to put him in his bucket. So, still not getting anything done. Like I said, I'm going to go ahead and do my water buckets. You'll see me kind of come and go. I may or may not be able to be heard. I hope I'm able to be heard, but, or maybe I'll just end it on that note, because I am going to walk all the way down there. So, yeah, you know what? I'll end it on the treat note. I think treats are very dangerous. I think treats promote dangerous situations. For safety reasons, it is a rule here. So I guess that would be my take on treats. And feedback, I guess. Feedbacks, you know, you're not going to get good feedback with your horse if it's based on what you give your horse. I don't know if you're somebody who has a dog, but for example, if you teach your dog how to do a trick with a treat, you'll find that gradually your dog will start to look to see, you know, they'll be looking in your hands to see, do you have a treat? You know, I'm happy to do it. I know what you want me to do, but if there's nothing in it for me, I'm not going to do it. you teach your dog how to teach you. Now you have to, and I've seen people do it where they don't have a treat, but they were trying to show off at like the dog park what my dog can do, and the dog won't do it. So they're picking up like a leaf, you know, and crumpling a leaf, trying to make it seem like it's a treat. Well, I see people do that with the horses, you know, with the crinkle treats or whatever they call them, you know, like the mints that have the wrapper still on them. And that's the way they get their horses to perform. All right, well, my pockets aren't that big. I ask my horses to do a lot of things, so they got to learn how to do it without a treat. So I certainly don't want my horse to, you know, do 4 steps of the Spanish walk and then be like, well, where's my treat? Oh, I don't get a treat? I'm not going to do any more. You crazy? Your feedback is, my horse wants to do for me. My horse wants to be with me. My horse wants to be wherever I am. My horse won't come out of my pocket. And when I say out of my pocket, I don't mean I want my horse on top of me. To me, that is absolutely not okay. Horses do not need to be on top of you. My personal space is very important to me. If anybody watches